Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacey here on the Money Matters Radio Network. Stacey's not with us for this segment. Filling in for her is Steve Mix of Ross Mortgage. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me.
And also joining us, a very special guest, our realtor guest for this segment, LeeAnne Trohon of LAER Realty Partners in Danvers, Mass., covering all of the North Shore. Welcome to the show, LeeAnne.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So we asked you on the show to talk a little bit about what's going on in the North Shore real estate market. Things are kind of crazy up there right now. Can you elaborate for us? Tell us what's happening?
Super crazy.
Yeah.
We're experiencing low inventory still, which makes it very difficult for buyers to get the homes that they're looking to purchase. And very competitive.
Yeah.
You have to go in with your best foot forward, being super prepared, having your pre-approval ready and ready with a plan and ready to make a move fast.
Now, do you see that buyers are still going in there thinking that they're going to get some sort of a discount off the prices that are being asked, or are people getting a little more realistic now?
Well, it depends on the buyer. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they have to lose a little to understand really what the market is. You could advise them and tell them how the market is, but sometimes they just need to find out for themselves. Yeah. Yes, everybody wants a good deal.
Yeah. But it's tough right now. I mean, it really is a seller's market, isn't it?
Total seller's market.
Yeah.
You're having not a lot of choices. You're finding multiple offers. And, with just a few homes available, there are way more buyers than there are sellers. So It's creating a tough market for the buyer.
So it seems like there's very little inventory, but isn't it true that there's actually still a lot of sales taking place? The issue is they just don't last like they used to?
Exactly. When a home comes on the market, you're finding that they're selling at the first open house with multiple offers, so they don't stay on the market long.
Now, is it typical for buyers to actually be able to go out and look at a house before an open house, or is pretty much everybody doing the same thing where it's highest and best at the open house type of thing?
It depends on how the seller wants to handle it. Mm-hmm. If the seller wants to allow people to come into the home before an open house, that's up to the seller, but in this market, they don't have to.
Mm-hmm. And how many times are buyers going out to see houses before they make offers? Are a lot of people getting discouraged because they know that it's so competitive and they're going to probably have to overbid to get it? Or are they just going out looking at a bunch of places and the first one they fall in love with just throwing out whatever offer is going to get the deal done?
The buyers are very savvy and they are very educated in what their money can buy them. Mm-hmm. So when the right property does come up, they are, most of them are ready to make the move. Mm-hmm. They have to be.
Okay, good. Good. Now, if you're a first-time buyer, where do you kind of try to drive people to as far as...
On the North Shore, I think Peabody is a great buy. Mm-hmm. Lower home prices, the taxes are lower than other towns surrounding, and they have their own municipality, which keeps the utility costs lower.
True. And you got pretty easy access to Route 1 and 128 right there, too,
very easy access to 128, Route 1, 95.
Now, what is a typical first-time buyer getting for the money in Peabody?
What price range are you talking about?
So let's say, can you even get anything in the 300 range anymore?
You can. Very competitive.
Yeah.
In Danvers, there's only 4 properties available under 400. Wow. Of the 4, one of them is, on a main road. One of them is a 2-bedroom. One of them is a cape that needs a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And the other one will probably sell this weekend.
Really? So, it's that competitive?
It's very competitive.
Wow. I can't imagine being a first-time buyer right now. Can you, Steve?
You got to be ready.
Yeah.
If I pre-qualify someone right now and they say, I want to spend $300, you have to almost start looking at $285.
Yeah.
You can't start at $300 because you're not going to be able to buy it.
Yeah.
The best situation for a first-time home buyer to be in right now is to be at home with their parents and not under a time constraint, because they have to have the time. Because on the other side, once the seller does choose a buyer, they still have to figure out where they're going to go if they don't already know. And to have a flexible buyer on the other side is ideal.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was one of the things I was going to ask you, too, is, with a limited inventory, one of the things that we hear a lot is, a lot of sellers are kind of locked in. They can't really sell because they're concerned about where they go next. What do you think has to happen for that to start to loosen up a little bit?
Well, I think as the spring rolls out and the new construction settles up and becomes more available, they'll be able to see, okay, I can move up into this new construction in this neighborhood. Now I know where I'm going to go, and that builder can be a little bit flexible with my closing time. Now I'm ready to sell, and you'll see a pickup. Mm-hmm. in inventory.
And what are builders putting up on the North Shore right now? Is it all colonials now? Is that pretty much all you have to choose from?
Seems to be in Danvers. Colonial is what new construction is.
Right.
Yes.
And what are you paying for a new construction colonial in Danvers these days?
Anywhere from 600 plus.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And when, let's say you find something in the 600 range, you talking 2,000 square feet or more?
Probably 2,000 plus.
Yeah.
In Danvers, it's about location. So the ones available in Danvers, it is 600 plus, but do you like the location?
Right. So I'm guessing for premium locations, you're going to pay quite a bit more.
Pay a little bit more. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things we talked about was areas that first-time buyers can actually go to, for most bang for the buck. Let's say that you're in the lower end of things, say between 200 and 300. Where are you going to go on the North Shore? Or can you even go anywhere on the North Shore these days?
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. So you pretty much, are there condos in that range? Or?
Yes, there are condos in that range. So you might be looking at a condo.
Yeah.
Even
multifamilies are tough now, right?
There's just not a lot available.
Really?
Yeah.
That is tough. So you always have the opportunity to go to what, New Hampshire or further outside the North Shore?
I'm finding that people with a lower budget, they're moving more north.
Yeah.
Closer to New Hampshire, if not in New Hampshire.
Kind of a new trend?
A little bit, yeah. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. That makes sense. Especially if you can get a lot more for the money, right?
Yes.
Good. How about tips for buyers that are in multiple offer situations?
Tips for buyers in multiple offer situations. You always want to just always remember what the seller wants and try to get a good idea of what they're looking for. And if you can match what they're looking for, express that in your offer, either with a personal letter to the seller, just explaining your situation. Also, you want to cut down on contingencies. So you want to make your home inspection contingency a little bit shorter. So as not doing a 10-day home inspection, but maybe cut it down to a 7-day home inspection if you can. Also, your mortgage commitment date, you want to make that as soon as possible.
Right.
To be more appealing to the seller.
Right. Because once you get underwriting approval, it's more attractive to them, correct?
It's just more sure for them moving forward.
Right. Especially if they're looking to move up into something else.
Right.
Okay. Getting back to move up buyers. One of the other places we talked about kind of before we got started today was Middleton. What's going on in the Middleton market right now?
Middleton has a lot of new construction, and the prices are skyrocketing. And between 2014 and 15, the prices have increased over 30%.
Really? I can't. That's staggering. I mean, that's like Winchester prices, isn't it?
It's getting there. I mean, I've done some deals up there. It's you got Rich's and ice cream right there. So
well, actually, that right there is a reason to move to Middleton, isn't it? I haven't been there in a long time.
Yeah, miniature golf.
Miniature golf there now too?
Oh, driving range, batting cages. Yeah.
Oh, what are they copying Kimball's?
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
Not quite.
Not
like
quite.
Kimball's.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you've been to Kimball's?
Yeah.
You've made it all the way down to,
Of course.
to Westford? Wow.
Yeah, I have children.
Anyone with
Oh,
kids,
there you go.
Yeah, you have to
gotta
take
go.
them everywhere.
You
It's like
gotta
a
go.
pilgrimage.
Have you had the Kimball special?
What's that?
What is it? Like basically a half gallon of ice cream with every topping on it for $6 or $7?
I cannot say that I have.
You show it to your kids, that's all they'll ever want, even though they can't even put a dent in the thing.
Probably.
Yeah. Good ice cream. So getting back to the North Shore, you said there's areas that they're building really large houses in Middleton. Is that what you think is driving up the prices year over year?
The development in Middleton is, yes, they're building multi-million-dollar properties in Middleton.
Multi-million-dollar properties. Wow. All right, so I'm going to switch gears on you for a second. We're going to go back to talking about buyers and getting them ready for the whole process. So what do you do to get your buyers ready from the first time that you talk to them?
Well, I want to introduce them into the current market condition, which is very competitive. And in doing so, we want to make sure that their pre-approval is a strong pre-approval.
Right.
So I recommend them to go to a reputable loan officer who can help them with their pre-approval. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer than they're anticipating based on their credit situation or their employment situation. Sometimes they just don't know where they stand with getting pre-approved.
Right. And Steve, why don't you talk a little bit about how you get customers ready financially for the process?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we review all their docs, we pull their credit, we kind of get a sense of what they're trying to do, whether it's a single family or a two family. There's a lot of factors involved. Credit's probably the key That's the one that takes the most time if there are issues.
Mm-hmm.
The very levels of document organization. Some people have everything
Right.
because they just did their taxes, and here's your folder with W-2s and pay stubs. And other people, you got to pull their teeth out to get all the documents you need.
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge is just to have them prepped and ready, so that when they do find the place, they're like, we're not waiting on a W-2 or a tax return or something like that.
Right. Right. And why don't we talk too about the team? Like, how, if you're a buyer and you're just thinking about getting into the process, how do you choose the right agent?
We want to interview the agent and make sure that they have the resources that are available to help you, including anything that could come up in a real estate transaction.
Mm-hmm.
When you put your offer in, the next step after your offer is accepted is to have a home inspection. And you want to make sure your agent has a few choices for you to choose from in interviewing home inspectors in the local area who can give you a good home inspection so you know what you're buying.
Right. And how long does a home inspection take? So for any new buyers that might be listening, what's involved in a home inspection? Is it something that's really quick, or does it take some time?
Depends on the home inspector
Mm-hmm.
and how thorough they're going to be, but you can plan on 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on home inspections that were less than 2 hours, and I've also been on home inspections that were 4 hours. So
4 hours. Wow.
very intense.
Right.
Very
And
thorough.
does it take longer? Obviously, the bigger the property is, it takes
The bigger
longer
the
to do it.
property. So when you have a multifamily,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a little bit longer. There's more than one system to inspect, heating systems and electric systems. So it will take a little bit longer for multifamily.
Right. And then, of course, you want to make sure that they're set up with the right attorney to kind of explain that process to them as well.
You want to have a legal team behind you so
Mm-hmm.
that they can help advise the client the process of a closing,
Mm-hmm.
and legally what they need to do legally to protect them.
Right, right. And then going on the flip side, how do you get sellers ready to start the whole process?
So first, you have to go see the house, and when you see the house, there's a couple of recommendations you can make to a seller based on their home sometimes, and sometimes a seller will be completely ready. Their house is already decluttered. Their house is ready for the market, which is very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you go into a home and you have to make recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's beyond that, and you might even have to recommend a stager come in and help the seller get organized and get things in the right place to make the home market ready.
Right. And is that something you have to do, even though the market's white hot right now and things are selling quick, you still have to present the best possible look of the house, that type of thing?
Absolutely. Sellers have to do less to get their home sold in this market,
Mm-hmm.
but you still want to show the house in the best light. You only have one chance to make a first impression.
That's a very good point. How about pricing strategy with sellers?
Pricing, you don't want to overprice. When you overprice your property tends to stay on the market longer.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you will get less than if you priced it fairly in the first place.
Right,
So buyers know what they can get for their money, and they're trying not to overpay.
right. And do you find that, because it seems like human nature where you have somebody that's selling a house and buying their next one, and the one they're selling seems like they want more money no matter what you tell them for the price.
Mm-hmm.
They want more money than whatever you told them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to negotiate with the buyers, and they don't want to really repair anything if they can avoid it. But then on the flip side, on the house they're buying, it's like they just totally change. They want to negotiate price. They want to negotiate what's going to be done in the house. And how do you prep a seller to deal with both sides of that?
You have to keep them realistic so that it's fair on all sides, because if it's ever heavy on one side and light on the other, a lot of times the transaction never finishes. It doesn't close. So you just always want to be fair and price your house right.
Right. So if you manage expectations from the start, then it tends to go a lot smoother, I'm willing to bet.
True. And in this market, when you're pricing your home right, you are opening the door to multiple offers as opposed to pricing it too high and hoping for just one offer.
Right.
And when you have buyers who know that they're not in competition, they're going to beat you down for your price.
Okay. And with the market being as competitive as it is, sellers have high expectations, but buyers, because they're paying more, seem to have high expectations as well. What do buyers want for the money? Are they looking for a house that's move-in ready, or are they willing to do some work?
They are ready to do some work.
Mm-hmm.
They know that having a lot of competition, there are going to be some things that they need to do.
Mm-hmm. So there's just no way around that.
I mean,
Unless you're willing to pay for it, I'm
the
guessing.
well-priced homes and the homes that are in move-in ready condition, they probably will have multiple offers in this market.
Right.
So you're either going to pay more or do some work.
So pick your poison type of thing, right?
Right.
Okay, good. We're actually running out of time right now, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to be back with more Get Real after this. Thanks for coming on the show today, LeeAnne, and thanks for co-hosting with me, Steve.
Happy to be here. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.